Hi there, this is Fibro Jedi, and this is episode 4 of my LOTRO Warden Series. So, in the last episode, we killed off a few black wolves, screamed at a few of them, and chose our trait tree that we're going to be playing on our Hobbit here, Lamuna. We chose the Determination tree because I want to prove my risk aversion, and we'll go in tank stance because I haven't done that even on a Guardian. So it gives me 2 new things to do as we progress through this. Yes, I will be drinking tea probably throughout most of this series. I also, just quick apology, at the end of the first episode my mic was somewhere down here, so I apologise if towards the end my voice trailed off a little bit. I don't think anything was lost, but without replaying all of these levels and recreating this character, I can't really replace it. So, I never claimed I was doing everything polished and perfect. So, where we were at is we are going to speak about passages around Archet to Atli Spiderbane here before the Black Wolves carry out their attack on Archet. Something I have done between episodes 3 and 4 is rearrange my UI slightly to more closely match what I do in my other MMO. Now, this means I'm going to mess up at some point and get my fingers in a muddle, because although we're only level 6, I have already got used to keys 1 to 3 being how I'm doing things. However, what I have done is, what I normally do for key mapping is to put main abilities near to the directional keys. So WASD is directional keys, which for the purposes of this character, if I go into options and key mapping, instead of A and D being turn right and turn left, I've made these strafe left and right instead. Which I just find has a lot more control attached to it. But then commonly used abilities, or probably in my case those abilities that are granted earlier on, I'm putting around those. So where we've got quick thrust, which was on key 1, is actually on Q. The shield bash is on E, and the default gambit will be on R, which is fine. I'm used to reaching across those, and I'll have any abilities that I used less frequently on T, because you have to reach for that. But I've now put the taunt down by X, which will make it more likely for me to use it than having to shift 1 or wherever it was before. And as we add abilities where I think they'll happen more frequently as we sort of burst in on groups of mobs, then I will add those in here, which will become F and V. Yeah, F and V, again, where V is something infrequent because of the reaching. Where I've had to be really careful is at C, try not to remap that because I'm used to it being the character panel. Even though the temptation is to use C, I would then get really annoyed I couldn't use C to bring up the character panel. So what I have remapped 1 to 3 being, and this is where I'm more likely to mess up in the short term, are the ranged abilities. So the mark the target, hampering javelin, and warning shot I've now put on keys 1 to 3. Just something to bear in mind that I didn't quite understand in the last episode, and if I go back into skills and gambits here, is that I triggered this ranged boot, which although is still a very hilarious concept, we have an extra icon here I've not noticed before. So where we get persevere is by using a builder like quick thrust followed by a shield bash here. What happened, why we got ranged boot triggered, is that we have a ranged icon, and then that was followed up with a shield bash. Now I wonder if I can reproduce it, because that gave us this ranged boot ability, which, if I have understood this correctly, and I did do it this way, then we can gain the assailment gambits here, even though we're under determination. Trait tree. So let's see if I can reproduce that. So if I take on this marsh fly, I go in, and then I use E. No, I messed that up because I was going for 1 to 3. Let's find another marsh fly. So I want my gambits to clear. Don't know how long I have to wait for gambits to clear. 15 seconds. Right. So I need to use E as my shield bash. This is where getting used to what I'm doing. E. Ah, it's not that ranged ability. Okay, let's go for another one. Which one was it then? Hampering javelin? Let's try that. So 2 is the hampering javelin. E. No, that also didn't do a building. Oh, how did I trigger it? I hate not being able to remember things. How did I trigger it? I wonder if it didn't happen before I... It might have happened before I traded. Try that. E. No, you see that didn't add a gambit builder. I wonder if that's because I'm not in... It might be because I'm not in assailment stance now. Let me just temporarily switch to assailment stance and see if that makes a difference. Given it isn't technically an assailment gambit. None of those seem to... Ah, that's right. So it's not these ranged abilities. It's the fact that if I was in assailment and then run, and then go to E, then we get this range boot. Right, so yes, it's not... See, I warned you at the start of this series there'd be false assumptions and incorrect assertions made, and how true that was. It's nothing to do with these ones. I thought it was a bit odd that these didn't have... what's the word I'm going for? Builders. Gambit builders. Let's go back into the fray stance, which is more normal. Good, okay, so ranged boot shouldn't trigger if you're not in assailment stance. Cool, okay, so we need to pick up Where's the Story to anyone who wants to actually who joins this in episode 4 instead of the previous 3. The Blackwold plans you collected reveal that brigands guided by an evil force of Angmar mean to attack under the cover of shadow by the Old East Path, which is overrun by spiders, which I think we encountered in episode 1, maybe? Or 2, might have been episode 2. Atli Spiderbane stands outside the Hunter's Lodge. We should speak with Atli Spiderbane and learn what you can learn about the Old East Path. Well, I guess there's spiders there, and he beat them.
I am at your service.
I know all about the Old East Path. There are spiders everywhere. When you kill one, another takes its place. If we are to make use of the path at all, we should fight our way through and ensure it's still blocked at the walls of Archet. The spiders will do some work for us against the Blackwolds, and for what the spiders don't deal with, we shall come afore and behind with our axes and our blades, and we'll fall upon them like a mighty cave coming down. Roar, for I am dwarf. Right. It's fraught with danger. Really, I thought we were just having a nice stroll in the countryside and there were some mean people. So, make sure we don't... Yes, so we do need to go down here. We need to defeat 4 spiders and see if the wall is still intact. Yeah, button mashing. Yeah, I got my fingers in a bit of a twist. So I'm still pressing 1 to 3 when I shouldn't be. So, shield, shield is EE. Shield, shield, R, Q, and another shield. Go on, just for the heck of it. There we go. Just relax, take your time, don't worry about it. So let's try, because if you do a thrust and a thrust, you still get a defensive boost, don't you? Q, Q, E, R. I don't need the ER as such. Yes, partial parry chance, partial block chance, partial evade chance increased. And we gained a level. Fab. And we don't have to kill more spiders, but I think just having the practice. That's it, I'm getting back to not... what's the word? Using 1 to 3. So remember the 2 taunts deal light damage over time. What's the range of the taunt? Oh, that's quite good, because you want to be able to get the second taunt in, either when the spider arrives or just before the spider arrives. There. And then you can use the Gambit. There we go. It does some of the work for you by dealing the damage over time. Q, E, R. R. Shield bash, R. And there we've built enduring shield work and a warden's skill. Because we moved quickly from foe to foe, we ended up with 2 gambits being triggered there just by using different abilities. Which one does the heal over time? Because I've not triggered that gambit. I need to remember what the shortcut for skills is. Persevere, shield bash plus a... I might attract more than one spider here. Shield bash plus a Q plus an R. So if you can move from... Oh, lost a bit of health there, didn't I? Gambit to gambit, or foe to foe, you get to keep a gambit, it'll let some of them then clear. I'm sort of killing things wantonly here. But the... I keep pressing C, sorry. Q. Q is a gambit. And no more spiders. You can run past these spiders quite happily in this version of Archet, but the Brigand Scout met his doom at the dead end on the old east path. Well, but the wall is still standing, and I say wall, it's fence, really. Right. So from this, then, so if you move from foe to foe quite quickly, you can keep the buffs from the previous gambit, build a new one, and it builds up to the next one, and that is actually quite handy. I need to return to John Brackenbrook here. So I won't kill any more of these. We'll get plenty of foes in the ending instance here. So that's interesting to know that... I think I might have mentioned this in a previous episode actually, that your gambit is not foe related, it's to do with where you are at in your own rhythm. I don't think we got a trait point yet. Oh, we've got a trait point! Yay! I don't remember being told that. So, Warcry is an ability. The Warcry Gambit, it's a Gambit, increases evade rating +9 evasion on Warcry evade buff, or increase healing and damage done when using the Persevere Gambit. Right, well let's do that initially, because then we don't have to add a new Gambit in, but it improves what we already have. Fab. Okay, let's run with that then. So, to John Brackenbrook.
A dead end will surely work in our favour.
A dead end will work in our favour, except that it's a fence, not a wall. The brigands will be slowed and they will have spiders at their heels, and the hunters will come from behind while the soldiers attack at the head. I will go to Archet to rally them, ready for the storm that awaits them tonight. And then you just get a free die. Dies are very handy when you want to create outfits. I will put my own outfits together probably between this episode and the next one, because they allow you to dye each different component of your outfit, which is called a cosmetic outfit in LOTRO, in that it has no stat benefit. It doesn't help your fighting, it just changes your appearance. Hopefully I'll make this warden friendly if you're new to Wardens, but also newbie friendly if you're new to LOTRO, so we'll see where we're going. So, quickly! Calder Cobb is on making his move against Archet, and the wicked men of Angmar are lending him and the Blackwold strength. We must go to the town's defence at once. Return to me when you are prepared. Right, this will... there we go. It says you have just received the final quest in the Introduction quest series. If you have any other quests underway, you should complete them now, as those quests will no longer be available after the introduction is completed. Get your teeth in, FJ. Right, I have no other quests outstanding, so that is fine. However, I know I won't get much chance to drink tea during the next bit. So, we made it through the introduction, folks, and I'm slowly getting used to my abilities being changed for Warden. Now would be a very good time to use these while it's still, you know, an appropriate level. Any advantage you can gain in tougher instances, as this intro is a little bit, the better. So we may as well eat some fried mushrooms. Yum. Shame it doesn't come with an entire fried breakfast, but that's a different crafting recipe. I can guarantee I'll get distracted and that tea would be cold if I hadn't drunk it. Right. Let's go then. Are you ready to go? Very well.
John Brackenbrook and his hunters have reached the outskirts of Archet to find it already ablaze. A desperate struggle to save their village is about to begin. Hopefully, you have arrived in time.
Just doing what I would normally do, in that I would need to take a screenshot. This is mostly for the cover of this video, so there's some variety. Right, John Brackenbrook.
We have no time to lose.
Already the town burns. We have only a short time to rest here before they see that we have broken through the east wall. I fear we are less than safe by the moment. Fight alongside John Brackenbrook. Thankfully there is no it's not showing any health.
Save Ned.
Q R X. And we built a few there, looking at it. Enduring shield work, Wardens Taunt. Oh, well, that's the trail food. So, Jailer Ned Pruner. Amdir's close by. He escaped the slaughter at the Badger. That's the pub. You have to help him. Defend the Badger. You're not defending a Badger. That's the name of the pub. Those Blackwolds want the Hobbit. And the captain. I saw something in the flames. Go after them. You must save them. Talk to John Brackenbrook and protect John Brackenbrook.
Archet must still be saved.
Calder Cobb's and Otto's treachery were just the beginning of this battle, I fear. We must find a way to the Mad Badger Inn. Peg left us a way into the marketplace. Perhaps there's a way in there. Follow me. Let's make sure the marketplace is safe, Lamuna. Come on, come with me.
There are more up ahead.
My ability's not triggering. That's it. Was I out of range? That's it. I was either too close or not far enough. You cleared the market square of enemies. You fight well, but I fear the worst is yet to
We
come.
must find my father before it's too late.
The marketplace is safe now, but we must press on. If we tarry too long, we will lose all of Archet. We must find another way into the centre of town. I'm just going to grab a better screenshot. I've been forgetting to take screenshots during this video series. If I'm not careful, I'll have absolutely no screenshots. To record the journey more than the videos. And I try not to watch my own videos once they're uploaded to YouTube so that all the stats are correct for my viewers.
We must find my
let's
father
go.
before it's too late.
We should secure the crafters area. Come on. Those black-hearted fiends have laid waste to our town. I hope we're not too
Look,
late.
Artley is ahead.
Artley.
All must not be lost.
Artley.
Well met, friend. Is the crafting hall safe?
A group of black wolves entered the building yonder not long ago, John. Together, surely we can take them and reclaim this area. Ooh, that was an interesting gambit. What was that one? Need to have a look at that. When I get a break. Nobody messes with my kinfolk. We must brace ourselves for the worst. I want to see what that gambit was, though. I did a taunt plus something else, which led to a very interesting gambit there. So what did I do? I did a taunt. Is this impressive flourish? So I did a taunt plus a shield. I can't say taunt plus a shield bash. Flip's sake, gave us an impressive gambit, which was here. Impressive flourish deals light damage over time to the enemy and boost defenses. It's the first in the impressive flourish gambit chain. Ooh, lovely. That will come up. I bet that's going to be great later. So deals 22 light damage initially, 10 light damage every 4 seconds for 16 seconds. Not that you'll be timing it. And boosts for 30 seconds. 23 to critical defense. Add 17 to physical mitigation. 17 to tactical mitigation. For total newbies, critical defense is your defense against really strong attacks. So in crafting, when you have a critical hit, you produce a better item, but that's like a small percentage of the likelihood of you making that better item. Same with your critical hits or defense. Your critical hits is when you have a small percentage or a smaller percentage of creating a much bigger impact on your enemy's health. So your critical defense is your defense against those really big attacks. Physical mitigation is your defense against physical attacks, swords, spears, punches to the face, hit by enemy shields. Anything that is a physical item hitting you is a physical attack. Tactical mitigation is other stuff that isn't physical, so whether it's magic, fire, and we'll see when I continue the series, shadow damage is also a tactical one. And it will be important as you face the various foes of Middle-earth that you have defenses against both physical stuff and tactical. It can be too easy on physical characters, such as hunters who have bows and arrows, or guardians that use swords and shields, to just think, oh, the more armor the better, and you can forget that you still need defense against fire or magical foes. And also, if you roll a lawmaster or a minstrel, for example, who use light armor, you really do need some physical mitigation so that it makes it that you can only wear light armor, so that when you have I don't know, trolls throwing rocks, for example, that you have more defense against it than your pure armor. So that's why you will need physical and tactical mitigation. So I know that's not really doing what we said we were going to do with this episode as such, but if you're new to LOTRO, then hopefully, if I've explained that correctly, then that should help you to work through gearing later. The Warden has medium armor, so you get kind of a balance between dealing damage and having some defense. You're not quite as, what players will call squishy, as your light armor folks, but I found with my Hunter, who's only, what, level 62 still, having that extra physical mitigation in there really helps you against the hard-hitting foes, like your trolls, your bigger orcs, for example. Excuse the ers, I don't script these. But do not neglect the fact that you will need some tactical mitigation in there. Middle-earth is attacked by foes who wield all sorts of tools. Darkness, magics, fires. You need still defences against those. So yes, so we got that impressive flourish. I really do need to get my teeth in. I did the taunt here, which is Warden's Taunt. And I think that's only a single target. No, 10-meter range. Now, is that a taunt for anyone in the 10-meter range? I don't know. It doesn't seem to taunt people like the Guardian's Taunt does. There was no icon above the enemy. But yeah, your taunt plus the shield bash gave us this impressive flourish, which actually is quite powerful. So we've got it deals quite a lot of damage initially and over time. Total. Yeah, you see, it's actually more powerful than the goad, which is 2 taunts. The goad gave you 10 light damage initially, and then 10 light damage every 4 seconds for 16 seconds. Whereas this gives you initial 22 light damage initially, and then is the same, it's 10 light damage every 4 seconds. So, if you're doing as I am here, I'm in tank stance, but I'll actually want to deal damage as fast as possible as well, while defending myself. That impressive flourish is actually really handy. But you can build multiple gambits so long as your gambit bar clears. Some of them tell you which one clears. There we go. So Persevere clears all gambits. Impressive Flourish currently clears all gambits, but that cannot be true later if it's part of a gambit chain. That might be a false assumption. Right, so currently all of these clear all the gambits. So once you've used your gambit, if you want to build another one, then you must use your default gambit here, which is the R key for me. Okay, enough of that. Let's carry on saving Archet.
Although the mad badger burns, I still hold out hope.
We're almost there, my friend. My father will still be alive. I know it.
Father, I knew you would survive.
I'm alive, son, but I grow weary from the fight. Does Archet fall now? I have been such a fool. This is not the time to blame. We must look at only to defending those who count on us for safety. I agree. I will guard the hobbits and the injured man. Can you keep the rest for me? They approach. Haha, I didn't do the right combination to actually make that a gambit then. So I need to wait for the gambit to clear. This is me not thinking clearly in a
No more time for games. We come for the ranger.
What have you done, Calder Cobb? What have you become? We've come for the ranger. You have always been blind where I'm concerned, Captain, but perhaps you begin to understand me. All I know is you betrayed your home and your peoples. You should be ashamed. Enough talk. Amdir is now a servant of Mordor. Come, Dunadan. Yes, master. What is happening? Good question. Calder Cobb, finish what you came to do. Gladly. I will now have power in Archet now, Brackenbrook.
Father! No!
You have defeated Calder Cobb. So in that one, because I got a bit antsy as I do in certain combat scenarios, I managed to put 5 different Gambit builder abilities and not trigger a Gambit because I wasn't thinking. I need to know that I can stay. I need to go slower. I need to just take my time and not rush. Yes. That's advice for life for me. Take your time, relax. Yes, I know, I'm just not very good at it. Right.
What misery has befallen us? My father was right to trust no one.
This is a sad day indeed. Archet is burned, and my father is dead, and the ranger was taken by evil men, if men they can be called. Now, all we can do is wait for the flames to die down, then with luck, we may begin to rebuild our poor town. This is no place for a hobbit. Let us see that you and the others get safely back to the Shire.
With the Blackwall's grip on Archet broken, the hobbits hurry home to the Shire, eager to return to their simple, peaceful lives. But not all is as peaceful as it seems.
Of course not.
Troubles stir at the bounds, and a shadow of fear is left in the wake of the Nazgûl.
Right, speak with Mundo Sackville Baggins.
Huh, how rude!
You'll never see me outside the bounds of the Shire again. Some Bagginses might enjoy an uncomfortable adventure, but not I. To think that I had to rely on big folk to pull me down from the grip of others. You didn't help much with the way you marched us back to the Shire either. I was so ungrateful. Right, so we finally get reputation, which I'm not going to go into as part of this series. It'll come as part of blog post later. Milestone skill, which is important for all players, and novice, which will allow you to join fellow kins, and depending on what you have available, access to the mount skill. So for new players, totally, a milestone skill is a destination with a milestone nearby. I won't read the official description there. What I will do instead is find one. So, this, my friends, and others that are suspiciously like it, are milestones. They allow you to automatically transfer back to this point on the map. So if I ended up in the middle of the Shire, and I just wanted to get back to somewhere vaguely safe, then you can use the milestone skill to go back there. I will pop this in my right bar over here because I don't really want that hotkeyed. By default, the milestone has a 1 hour cooldown, so you can't automatically, you can't use it over and over. You can buy more milestones, although in the early levels that's not strictly needed. As you progress through Middle-earth, you'll find quests that say, go over to, so a classic one is, I want you to go to Tinadir in Evandom, and then from there I need you to go to speak to Elrond in Rivendell, and then you can come back to here in Trollshores, somewhere in the middle of Trollshores. You can set milestones to all that, although they share the 1 hour cooldown, but it saves you riding everywhere if you want to avoid that. Although part of the love of this game is riding through the Shire. So now we're, and other regions, so that we're now out of Archet, we will start to get day and night cycles running as well. So just to clue you in on milestones, and we're going to go into crafting shortly. I had thought about not doing the Shire on Lamuna simply because the actual epic quest line doesn't follow a logical route from start to finish in geographically speaking. I was going to do Ered Luin, but as I've got a Hobbit, let's stick to the Shire. And what I will do is, if a quest is green or grey, we won't do it. We'll just progress on leveling and gradually get through the Shire. But we won't spend ages doing it. I'll come back on my own time to do deeds. We'll clear some deeds just by doing questing. Yeah. So what I was going to just quickly show you in the LOTRO store here, milestone. These are sometimes on sale. So if you're not paying money into LOTRO on your F2P, if you earn LOTRO points through deeds, then you may want to use those later for things like milestones. So you can unlock additional milestones, 350. They do end up on sale, so do keep your eye on the LOTRO and the LOTRO family feed for when those things become discounted. But later, once you get more characters and you end up building more LOTRO points into your account, you can reduce your milestone cooldown by 30 minutes. In the early regions, it's really not necessary. Sometimes things are close together, and you can still use taxi horses and to get around Middle Earth, so you don't have to do that, but it is helpful to know. Okay, enough of that twaddle. We have mail. I don't think there'll be much mail. John Brackenbrook. Greetings, I have written a letter on your behalf. Others in Archet collected what they could to give to you and made a nice present of it. Make certain to give the letter, read it, and then take it to Constable Thistlewood in Archet or Postman Newbook in Nittle Delving, which is where we are now. You remain in the hearts of the people of Archet. Respectfully, John Brackenbrook. And Bingo Boffin. We might do Bingo Boffin as part of this series, but maybe I should make a separate series of us as well. I want these to be fun to watch as well as instructive. So these will be more in my style of gaming, apart from I won't be doing all the deeds as I normally would. Okay, so let's pick up a couple of quests. So there's a few here. I don't remember there being so many. If you don't have the mount skill available when you when you first set up your LOTRO account, or your character, which most of you probably won't, then in your initial gift pack here, you get a whole bunch of stuff. Always keep dies and store them in vaults, which I'll also come to. But you see, this precious little red gift pack here gives you which I can unwrap, it doesn't matter, gives you a whistle. And that gives you, it'll expire and that come out of my inventory. It gives you, if I show you here, it gives you an average mount. Just a little horse to use for 24 hours to get around quicker, if you want to. I need to dismount. Where's my mount display panel? There we go. So yes, and that can help you just 24 hours just to get around a bit quicker. Now then, this letter of commendation, if I remember right, yes, gives you 5 tokens of salutation. So if you're again new player, then come to the barterer here.
Is there something I can do for you?
I heard what you did. Monday will never admit it, but what you did with the tall folk who will be talked about behind your back for years. To think you helped save not only 2 hobbits from the Shire, but a whole town. Marry me, you must have a little Baggins in you. No, I am not expecting a child. Here, take these, and then Look through my wares. You may find something here to your liking, adventurer. And that gives you a barter item here. And this one is very handy. It gives you 10% run speed. 10% run speed if you click it, or 5% always. Out of combat run speed. Expires once you're level 15. It's just a pocket item, so that goes into here. Right, so what's the quest here? Yes, I might not trigger that yet. That, if you want to, has an entire deed restoring the quick post. Sees you running all over the Shire. I will get confused as to what I'm doing story-wise if we pick that up now, so I will do those on my own time. But if you want to complete all the deeds in this Shire, you will need to do that. Join the Bounders.
Stay a moment.
There's Tell, you're one that helps those in need. Well, if you want to help us Shire folk, you'll have to join the Bounders. Most hobbits are friendly enough, but suspicious of strangers. As a Bounder, they'll trust you. At least a bit, anyway. A little bit, not much. If you want to join the Watch as a Bounder, you'll have to speak to the second Sheriff. He's the only one who can sign you up. You'll find him in Michel Delving near Town Hall. Second Sheriff Bunce is respected by most folk, so if he says you're a right sort, they'll listen. And I won't actually read that one simply because we're not starting Bree-town for a while, although technically we can go at level 10. I want to gradually pick up quests that will take us through the Shire and aim to leave the Shire around level 15, hopefully, if we don't do too many quests. Right, what does this guy have to say?
Might I speak with you a moment?
Prologue, yes, epic. We need that. I wish these epic starters, when you hadn't got an epic quest already, had the flaming ring around it. This is outrageous, Lamuna. I will not be satisfied until I receive compensation for my treatment at the hand of those black wolds. I have been most ill-used, and it is more than any hobbit would stand. A Sackville Baggins should be able to travel throughout the Shire, and even into Bree-land if he wishes. If he wishes, which is not many will. Without danger of being abducted. And when a Sackville Baggins is promised gold, he had better receive some gold when the whole thing is done. It's only fair. I wrote this letter while you were off looking for John Brackenbrook. It doesn't include the big business with the brigands burning Archet or that ranger becoming so queer. But it's sure to be enough for old Flower Dumpling. With my letter to Mayor Will Whitford take my letter even to Mayor Will Whitford in Michel Delving. He'll be just outside the town hall, which will be to your left, surrounded by hedges when you enter the town. Right. And then we will pick up the crafting one here, because we're going to talk crafting as part of this, for the end of this slightly shorter episode. Have you already been to the Michel Delving Craft Fair? No, I've just been escorted back to the Shire. You should definitely go if you haven't already. There's a workbench, a forge, and even an oven just waiting to be used. If you think you have crafting in your heart, then you should visit my friend Emerald Borings at the craft fair. She's always happy to help someone get started making useful and pretty things. Pass east through Little Delving, and then follow the path south into Michel Delving. Take the southwest path from the statue of Marco and Blanco in the town... Marco and Blanco in the town centre. And past the stables on your right. Take the next left to reach the craft fair. Emerald will be happy to help you out. Right, now I do have a mount waiting to be used as the Gambits for beginners. Requires riding. Where's my riding trait? It's in this box here. Apprentice riding. There we go. Yes, we need to visit the crafting area. Smell the roses. I'm not going to go into what that is. It's not massively relevant to new players. But now, I have a mount. So I do... Someone in LOTRO family did an amazing thing, as people are prone to doing in LOTRO family, and gifted me the Riders of Rohan expansion. I am nowhere near that story-wise, even on my main, but it does mean I have a horse, and I think this one suits the Warden quite well. So, milestone here is currently set to the Delving Fields. I'm not sure which one that is, but how you set a milestone is you just right-click on it, return home, and bind. It'll do that, and that's your milestone. And I will reset that once I get to Michel Delving, because it'll be there that I will want to return to initially. So, the end of this won't include much fighting, but we have picked up an awful lot about... I managed to get my fingers in a twist in that final sequence, and managed to hit 5 abilities, none of which created a chain for a Gambit. So you do need just to take a breath when doing Gambits, and combat generally. The impressive flourish is very impressive. Does seem to deal quite a lot of damage, so you can still boost your defenses through gear and whatnot, but it deals more damage than some of the others that you currently have access to, some of the other Gambits you have access to. Right, so... what I might do is... this is going to be a shorter episode anyway, so I am going to leave all these quests here until the next episode. And I want to go straight on to the crafting area. Because I want to talk crafting. And we will come back to questing at the next one. So, this is where I have been playing for over a year and a half, and I still sometimes take wrong turns, in Michel Delving especially. So, let's get up to the crafting area, which I think is up here. Yes. Now then, the reason I wanted to talk crafting at the end of this one for Warden, and this is not me showing my amazing knowledge, I asked people first, is what do you choose your crafting for a Warden?
How do you do?
So this is you get this quest from the other character in Little Delving who also had the anvil icon. Alf sent you to me. Good, good. We need more folk with an interest in making useful and pretty things. Speak with the Mistress of Apprentices, and she can help you choose a vocation in which you specialise. A vocation is a bundle of 3 crafting professions with overlapping skills. Choose your vocation with care, because you will expend a great deal of time and energy improving your skill with professions under its purview. Such strange words. Once the Mistress of Apprentices has welcomed you to your chosen vocation, be sure to speak with the supplier who can sell you the tools of your trade. Every profession has its own tools, so be not over shy with your coin purse. Spend money with us, please. The novices will be happy to sell you any recipes you might wish to have, though I can tell you now you'll already know how to make a thing or two. Equip the crafting tool you plan to use, and find an appropriate facility. Michel Delving has a forge, workbench and oven available for your use, and begin practicing your skills. You will advance in your chosen profession as you practice and seek out the teachings of others in the field. I hope you'll become a skilled craftsman, Lamuna, and it will bring profit to you and the Shire. I will give you a few coins to get you started. Use them wisely, and consider them an investment in your future as a skilled craftsman. So, what profession should you choose as a Warden, then? There are 2 options, as I see. One is Explorer, which... well, there's technically 3 options, but ones that are probably more useful to you are Explorer to improve your medium armour. I've said in my LOTRO crafting in beginner's guide, you can choose Tinker for jewellery because you're going to go 7 slots here. However, for Warden, because your main damage weapons are both wood, at least if you don't go for sword. Your spear and your javelin are wood. You could go for woodsman. Now, because I have so many characters, I have all of these sorted effectively. So I'm going to go for woodsman, and I will pick up gear through questing, or use my other characters to make it. So if we go for woodsman,
Is there something I can do for you?
and train as that, then you will get abilities to make certain things under woodworker. You can farm, so you can make crops to sell or to give to any cooking characters you might have. But your main things as a woodsman are going to be collecting wood, shockingly, to turn into weapons such as a spear and a staff. Looks like we haven't got a... Oh yes, and a javelin is a ranged weapon, remember. So we will be able to make some of these things for ourselves. I will just do the... I've seen some people on Twitter or in my streams who are like, I don't understand this intro to crafting thing. It doesn't make any sense. So, let's run one. So, intro to woodworking here, you see, it says...
Stay a moment.
I won't read it, because otherwise this will go on longer than I planned to. So speak to someone near the woodworking area. So your main thing for woodworking is you need a workbench to work on. What you get here, so when you start your crafting vocation off and the tutorial, you are given a crate. So it says crate here is in green because it's an item. The easiest way to use your crate is to see over here. You've got a little icon. The same happens with emotes, or in this case, you've got a letter here that you can read, which is Mundo's complaint letter to the mayor. Is you can use the crate in this intro. What it does is it gives you some basic items to craft what you are required to craft for, to complete the tutorial. So it says here, use it to create a rowan bow, staff, spear, hammer, club, or great club, or javelin, as instructed by the novice woodworker. If you don't create the right item, you'll have to collect the wood out in the countryside before you can complete it, or restart the quest after 24 hours. So long as we create here a rowan spear, then, because let's do that. So create a rowan spear, which requires the tooth and rowan boards and rough leather wrapping. These items here crop up in a lot of crafting recipes. So if you're creating your warden weapons, you'll need to buy these from a supplier. It says and profession vendors. Sometimes not. Supplier is the right one all the time. So you'll be able to collect rowan wood out in the fields, in the countryside, basically when doing quests that involve adventuring and killing stuff. And then you can turn the wood you cut into boards. But in this case, we're given them to help you with the tutorial. So as you begin your journey here, you're given some inferior crafting tools. They don't last very long, so the more you use a tool, logically, the quicker it wears out. You would be better picking up straight from the novice woodworker here.
Just a moment. And
picking up a tool here, the woodworking tool there, which you see, this one has a durability of 45/45, whereas your inferior one is 30/30. So your new one wears out 50% slower, a third slower. Maths is not my strong point, especially when I'm doing things off the cuff. So to get the axe is a forest ability, so it might be quicker to pick. You might be able to pick that up from the novice tailor.
Oh, you do?
No. Do we have a novice woodworker hanging around here somewhere then? Won't be by the forges. Oh, let's just pick it up from the supplier then.
Did you need something?
Tool. So you can replace, if I just drag this over here temporarily, you've got an inferior farming tool, so let's pick up one that is not inferior. And an inferior forester's axe, which, as you'll be chopping down wood while in the countryside, and you may not be able to repair these off the cuff, you will want one that lasts as long as possible, and they only come for 2 silver each. So I didn't transfer any funds over from one character to Lamuna when I created her, so we've got 21 silver left. So it just shows that just by doing the stuff in Archet, including repairing occasionally, that I've got enough in the bank there to buy the new tools, and it's worth it. So let's do this tutorial, and then I'm going to sign off for this episode. I need a brew and a break, and to catch up on LOTRO family, for that matter. So the tutorial says to create a row and bow, staff, spear, hammer, club, great club, or javelin. Let's go for the spear. I'll do the other ones off my own back. We need to actually equip the... it says woodworking tools. There we go. Both these things here, the tool required and the facility required, need to be green. And then we can make that rowan spear. There we go. And now the quest has updated. Bring it to the novice woodworker who was right behind us.
Hello?
Let me see what you were able to do. She inspects the weapon with a discerning eye. Strong and smooth to the touch, no indication of any splinters. This is fine work. I think you've done very, very well, Lamuna. I approve and declare you a novice woodworker. And, more importantly, we can now equip a much better spear. 11 to 19 damage, plus power regeneration. Much improved DPS. There we go. And yes, we want to equip that. Thank you very much. So there we go. I will do the other tutorial bits off my own Steam and might trigger a couple of deeds as well. But we are now through this episode. It was a bit of a random one, not as much fighting this time. Once we got out of Archet anyway. So I want to thank you for joining me here. Have a look, maybe see what UI works for you as well. The rearranging things this way, once I get out the habit of using 1, 2 and 3 when I don't need to, will help me to achieve what I need to achieve much better. So hopefully I will confuse myself less next time round. What I will try and do is I will have leveled up a little bit by the time we start the next episode, because I want to do the quests that don't involve combat here, so that we are focusing on the warden abilities as we progress through this series. So there we go. We've made it to level 7. We got out the intro instance. Archet is, well, burned, but the threats have been driven off. So there we go. We've got our head around some of the warden stuff, including having a little thinking about crafting as well. I'm going to stick with woodworker for this one, but if you're a new player, you probably want to really consider going explorer to improve your medium armor, and if you have a second character, then maybe make them the jeweler, because at least with your tailor you can create light and medium armor if you need to. So yeah, if you're completely new to LOTRO, then don't go woodworker, because you want to create as many slots as possible. At least that's my subjective opinion. Others may disagree, and they may also be correct. It's just you make your own decisions. But for me personally, I think the more you can make for your own character, the better. And Tailor allows you to make 7 items of your own here, and Tinker allows you to make 7 items of your own here, whereas Woodworker lets you make 2. So that's what I would advise. Others may say something different. But there we go. Okay, time to sign off. Thank you very much for joining me for episode 4, and I hope to see you again another day for more Warden. Take care, and remember to follow us on LOTRO Family, and see you soon. Bye then.